What if I told you Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Bill Gates combined still wouldn't come close to the richest person who ever lived, and he was African? The year is 1324. A caravan of 60,000 people is crossing the Sahara Desert. 80 camels, each carrying 300 pounds of pure gold, and the man leading them. His wealth is so extreme that modern economists literally cannot calculate it. This is Mansa Musa, emperor of Mali, ruler of an empire so vast it stretched across modern-day Mali, Senegal, Gambia, Guinea, Nigeria, Chad, and Mauritania. But here is what is wild. Most people have never heard of him. Why? Because, for centuries, history books were written by people who had every reason to erase him from the story. But we're about to bring him back. Let's talk numbers. Estimates put Mansa Musa's wealth at around $400 billion in today's money. That is $400 billion. For context, Elon Musk, about $240 billion. Jeff Bezos, $160 billion. Bill Gates, $120 billion. Add them all together, and you are still $120 billion short of Mansa Musa. But here is the thing, that $400 billion estimate. Most historians think it is conservative. Mali controlled something nobody else had, half of the world's gold supply. The entire Mediterranean economy, from Morocco to Egypt to Italy, ran on Malian gold. If Musa wanted to, he could have crashed the global economy with a single decision. And actually he kind of did. In 1324, Mansa Musa decides to make the Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca, that every Muslim is supposed to make once in their lifetime. But Musa doesn't do anything small. He assembles a caravan of 60,000 people, soldiers, merchants, doctors, scholars, and 12,000 personal slaves, each carrying 4 pounds of gold. He brings 80 camels. Each camel is loaded with 300 pounds of pure gold. That is 24,000 pounds of gold. Just walking across the desert. Imagine being a random Bedouin trader. You are crossing the Sahara, struggling to survive, and suddenly you see 60,000 people on the horizon, all dressed in silk and Persian fabrics, gold everywhere. This isn't just a pilgrimage. This is the greatest flex in human history. First stop, Cairo, Egypt, one of the wealthiest cities in the world at the time. Mansa Musa rolls in with his entourage, and he starts giving gold away, not selling, giving. To everyone, random people on the street, gold, beggars, gold, merchants, gold, government officials. So much gold, their great-grandchildren were still rich. He builds a mosque every Friday. He is there, pays for it in gold, on the spot, and then something insane happens. The price of gold crashes. For the next 12 years, gold in Cairo, Mecca, and Medina loses 20 to 30% of its value. Think about that. One man's generosity destabilized the Mediterranean economy for over a decade. Some historians say he was richer than Bezos, Musk, and Gates combined. Others say that is actually an understatement. What do you think? Drop your take in the comments. But the gold giveaway is just the beginning. Everywhere Mansa Musa goes, he leaves behind treasures. In Mecca, he gifts the Mamluk Sultan of Egypt 50,000 gold dinars, about $8 million today. Rare fabrics from West Africa slaves, carrying even more gold as tips. The Sultan's wife gets a gift too. A bracelet so heavy with gold, she needs 2 servants to carry it. And these aren't even his biggest gifts. Those are reserved for the scholars. See, Mansa Musa isn't just about wealth, he is about knowledge. He hires the best architects, poets, and Islamic scholars he meets, pays them fortunes to come back to Mali with him. Why? Because he is building something nobody expects. The greatest university in the world. Back in Mali, Mansa Musa is building not just palaces, libraries, universities, mosques. Timbuktu becomes the intellectual capital of the world. The University of Sankore attracts 25,000 students from all over Africa, the Middle East, and even Europe. Timbuktu has over 1 million manuscripts on astronomy, medicine, mathematics, philosophy. This is the knowledge that eventually jump-starts the European Renaissance. But here is what makes me angry. For centuries, Europeans claimed this never happened. They said Africans were uncivilized, that they had no history, no empires, no achievements. They literally erased Mansa Musa from the textbooks. Why? Because acknowledging him meant acknowledging that Africa was more advanced than Europe for most of human history. Okay, so Mansa Musa finishes his pilgrimage. He is given away mountains of gold, built mosques across 3 continents, hired the greatest minds of his generation, and now he is heading back to Mali. But here is where the story gets really interesting. He runs out of money. What the richest man in history goes broke? Well, not exactly broke, but he is given away so much gold that he doesn't have enough for the journey. He borrows money from the same Egyptian merchants he made rich on the way to Mecca. And here is the crazy part. He borrows at a high interest rate, pays them back in gold, which is now worth less because of what he did. Question: if you had this much wealth, would you give it away like he did, or would you hoard it? Honest answers only drop them below. Mansa Musa dies in 1337. His empire eventually falls. Mali gets colonized by France. The manuscripts of Timbuktu are scattered, destroyed, or stolen. And for centuries, Mansa Musa is forgotten. But here is what they couldn't erase: his impact. The universities he built inspired generations of scholars. The trade routes he expanded connected continents. The wealth he distributed created dynasties that lasted centuries. And most importantly, he proved something the world didn't want to admit: that Africa wasn't waiting to be discovered. Africa was already the center of the world. If you made it this far, you are part of something bigger. We're rewriting history, one story at a time. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter, and drop a crown in the comments if you'd never heard of Mansa before this video. Let's see how many of us were robbed of this story in school, because African history isn't black history, it is world history, and it is time the world remembers.
The next chapter rises.